idea. I went to the rabbis and I said, change my mandate. I'm getting paid a lot of money to do Jewish stuff during the week. No one's showing up. My audience is in the pews on Saturday morning. Bar mitzvahs are destroying our children. Let me reinvent the Torah service. And they said, absolutely not. Because bar mitzvahs is how we make money. So you can't do that. So give me one Shabbat when there isn't a triple bar mitzvah, and I'll try and do something. And I got one 4 months later, and I went to the library to start researching the history of the Torah service, what it may have been, what went wrong. And I discovered a lot of fantastic things. I'll share one with you, and then we're going to look at the actual story where this all comes from. Once upon a time, until 1,000 years ago, for about 2,500 years, the Torah service that always served as the main opportunity for education lived in split screen. There was someone chanting the Hebrew, and alongside the Hebrew chanter, there was somebody translating line by line into the vernacular. Aramaic, Persian, some Proto-Arabic. At some point the tradition died out. We'll talk about that later. That translator, who went through many titles, Meturgeman was the most famous, or Turjaman, or Metargem, translator, was originally a word you may know in Yiddish or English called maven. Anybody heard of a maven? You may have read Malcolm Gladwell. A maven is an information specialist, according to the Oxford Dictionary. But really a maven is a Hebrew word, mevin, which means intermediary, bridge, or teacher. And the mevin shows up as one of the earliest Jewish professionals in our history, whose job it was to translate the past into a usable present. And that profession was what was built into the Jewish community to make Torah alive as a Torah service. It was phased out 1,000 years ago. We'll get to that. And I found that out and thought, oh my gosh, that's kind of hot. I think I want to do that. I was thinking about doing clinical school, do I go to acting school, do I go do movies, do I become a therapist, all of the above at the same time, and then I thought, here's a Jewish profession that actually has been forgotten, and I think needs to be brought back, because the past right now is inaccessible to most modern Jews. And the level of illiteracy is enormous, and we all know that, etc. So I did an experiment 4 months after I got my green light. I did a Shabbat morning at BJ. It was called Saturday Morning Live. And we simply brought back the translator, the maven. At the time we called it the StoraTelling came later. It was called what was it called the first time? I don't remember. But I basically translated line by line, just a few of the aliyot. Stopped in between to interact with the people, ask them what they think about it. I mean, it was one of the Moses thing stories, something about therapy. And like, raise your hand if you're a therapist. 800 people raise their hand. Raise your hand if you're in therapy. Everybody else raise their hand. It was like a moment about what exodus to our lives, and suddenly, like, the whole energy in the shul changed. And after doing this for 3 more times, we got such great buzz and reviews that I thought I'm onto something, and then I went and spent the summer of my content before I became an entrepreneur and gave up my life. In my dream, I sat on the beach in LA for 3 weeks thinking about this. And I came up with the idea that the word StoraTelling came down from heaven. I'm not kidding. And I wrote it on the sand, and I thought, wow, Torah storytelling. And the idea was, let's create a ritual theater company that actually takes this concept of sacred storying seriously, start trying out what it looks like to retrieve this ancient profession, and then train people to do it. And the big vision was and is, let's make Jewish literacy and engagement absolutely exciting. And let's take the Torah that right now is a closed book for the majority of Jewish people on the planet, an open book. And let's fight with it, let's wrestle with it, let's translate it, let's interpret it, let's make it alive in a synagogue, in a school, in a camp, outdoors, wherever Torah is open, let's open it more. And let's see what that does to literacy and engagement. And let's bring back an ancient profession for the attic. That is StoraTelling circa 1998. In 1999, I'll take a question in just a second. 12 years later, it is a pretty thriving, bustling, non-profit organization. We've had a lot of highs, a lot of lows. It's gone through a big transition from a theater company to a training institute, which has been really interesting. And maybe we'll have some time at the end for questions about that. Because basically we figured we've got a good method that we want to hand over to the people who could really take it and run with it in different places